Hello and welcome to a new series of Yorkshire Talks. I'm Matt Jameson.
And I'm Christine Talbot. And here on the Yorkshire Talks podcast and YouTube channel, we're talking to a whole new generation of Yorkshire folk with a different story to tell, finding out what makes them tick and why they love God's own county so much.
And we are delighted that this episode is sponsored by patient.info, one of the UK's leading independent health information websites.
Yes, with trusted advice written by health professionals, patient.info helps millions of people every month make informed decisions about their health and well-being.
So for reliable articles, tools and resources, why not visit patient.info?
Not all heroes wear capes, and when you meet our next guest, you'll find out that is the title of his fantastic memoir, and you'll also realise how very apt that description is. He's an incredible man who found happiness and contentment by overcoming huge challenges in life and by literally embracing his differences.
Yes, Jono Lancaster was born with Treacher Collins Syndrome, which affected his facial appearance. Now, when Jono was born, after 2 weeks, he went into foster care and started his incredible journey. Now, everybody here and everybody that's met him has such admiration and knows how incredible he is. And after hearing his story today, you will feel exactly the same.
Now, Jonathan has travelled the world. He's spoken across the world about his experiences. And he's also recently turned his hand to television presenting with Channel 4's Love My Face, for which he won great acclaim. We're absolutely delighted to have Jono Lancaster here in the studio. Did I just give you your Sunday name? I called you Jonathan.
You did.
You did. And yeah, that's a name that only my mum uses, but no, that's...
And only when you're in trouble.
Only when I'm in trouble, yes. More often than not, when I've got some new ink and I walk into my mum's house and she'll see it, she's like, Jonathan, what have you done to your beautiful skin?
I love your tattoos though. They're incredible. I'm big on tattoos and they look amazing.
Thank you.
Well, first of all, Johnny, can you explain what exactly is Treacher Collins Syndrome?
Well, thank you, first of all, for the beautiful intro. That's made me smile. So Treacher Collins is something that you're born with. In my case, there was no family history. It was a sporadic mutation, and I was born with Treacher Collins. My cheekbones didn't develop, so that's why my eyes appear the way they do. My ears didn't develop, so I call them my little Bart Simpson ears. Tiny little bit of bone there, little bit of flesh, and together they might make one whole ear. But I don't have any ear holes, so I need to wear a hearing aid. I have a narrow airway, which means I snore. But for others, they need help with their breathing through a tracheostomy. So I am very lucky in that sense. But yeah, that's Treacher Collins. Just affects the face.
How many people in the world have Treacher Collins? Is it quite a rare thing to get?
There are definitely rarer conditions. There's a few stats, like between 1 in 10,000, 1 in 50,000. But the thing that I've discovered with a condition that affects the face is people aren't always as forward or as outgoing or as confident to talk about it. Mm-hmm. So at times it does feel a lot rarer. And there's also a lot of undiagnosed cases as well. But yeah, they're the stats.
So you've been living your life with this condition. When did it all kind of start? I kind of mentioned in the intro, obviously you were born with the syndrome, and then within 2 weeks you were in foster care and had a foster family. Can you tell us a little bit about that and how that journey for you began?
Yeah. So I have to repeat what happened to me, and I have to quote somebody very special to me when I'm talking about my start. So yeah, I was left in hospital when I was born, and a lady at the time in her 40s, her children had grown up. She'd divorced her husband, lived in a council house, and she decided to dedicate her time looking after children that didn't have homes or families. And she was introduced to myself by Wakefield Social Services. and she went to meet me when I was 2 weeks old. And she's always told me that they warned her about my appearance. You need to be prepared for the way he looks. He looks different. And this incredible lady has always said, as soon as she saw me when I was 2 weeks old, she couldn't help but smile. And when she held me, she just felt an instant connection, an instant bond. And later that day, took me home to her house. And just an absolutely incredible lady. Jean, not even 5 foot, but just has this massive heart. And she fostered me for 5 years and just gave me such a beautiful foundation of self-love. She fostered other children with autism, cerebral palsy, and we all had these differences, but it was just the norm. It was just the best, craziest household to grow up in. And then I was placed up for adoption, and she adopted me when I was 5.
She's
incredible.
Yeah, so I'm incredibly blessed, incredibly lucky. And I'm very proud to have been adopted.
And she's your mum in every way, isn't she? Do you find it hard to think about what happened when you were first born, how your parents just weren't able to cope, were they?
It's the relationship and the thoughts towards my birth parents has evolved throughout time. As a child, I would always ask my mum, Jean, you're short and on your own. How can you cope? And my 2 parents couldn't. And she was like, she always used to try and use words that I would understand, but I would always question. And then in my early teenage years, I created backstories for them. My birth dad was a musician that played the guitar, and my mum sang, and they were in this band together, and they didn't have any money, and they were just doing it for themselves because they just didn't have the facilities. And then as I got a little bit older and angrier, they were still in a band, but they sang about pain, and they rejected me because of the way I look. And now as an adult, and I think for the past 10 years, when I think about my birth parents and my start, I have no idea what happened or what feelings they had. All I know is that those 2 people brought me into this world, and they gave me life. And that life that I have is down to me to fill with love and adventure and fill it with amazing people. And luckily I have done. And my mum, Jean, she was the first ever person that really made a mark on my life. And saying that though, Wakefield Social Services and the nurses and the doctors that cared for me in that 2-week period, I've never met them, or I don't know anything about them, but they advocated for me as well when I didn't have a voice. So I'm incredibly lucky. And one of the things that I tell myself when I'm meditating is, throughout my life, I've attracted amazing souls.
That's amazing.
I think the reason is, Jono, I think you're a very lovable person. It's who you are, and everything about you is so special. I think people are drawn to you in a way that they're not drawn to everybody. So I think that's saying a great deal, isn't it? It really is. When
Definitely.
did you first become aware, though, as a little boy? You probably weren't even aware that you had any particular condition. When did you first realise there was something that was maybe a little bit different?
I think I've always known that I was adopted. I always knew that I was the only one with a hearing aid. It was normal for me to go for surgeries and hospital appointments in London. And it was just my norm, mine and my mum's norm. And then when I got to high school, because I was really popular at school, and when I went to high school, all of a sudden I was surrounded by kids that had never seen myself before. And I started to notice the stares, the pulling of eyes down. And I still remained popular throughout school, but that's when it really hit me. And I started having an interest in sport, fashion, TV, movies, and I'm starting to look around for people with differences, especially on their face. And I never really saw them. As a kid, I saw Edward Scissorhands, and I connected with Edward so much. And Winona Ryder was my first ever crush. And throughout that story, he he goes through all these feelings and emotions, and he's just pure love, pure innocent love. And I'm just like, oh my God, it reminds me of so much of myself. And eventually Winona Ryder takes a soft spot for him. And then I'm like, oh my God, somebody like with a visible difference or with a difference has found love. Oh my God, that's amazing. And then at the end of the film, he ends up back on his own in the house at the end of the street and on his own again. And it absolutely broke my heart. So through those teenage years, that's what I thought my life was going to be like. I look different. Nobody else looks like me. My future, when it comes to work, love, those things aren't necessarily going to happen for me. And I struggled a lot with my mental health.
So that was around what, mid-teens that you started to think maybe life is going to be a little bit different for you. I remember hearing you speak once, and you were saying that even when you got your hair done, you wouldn't look at yourself. Tell me why not? What you'd obviously become very self-conscious by that stage.
Oh, the hairdressers. I hated the hairdressers. And my mum would always give me money to go to the hairdressers, and she would go out, and I would go Doubt Lane in Featherstone for my hair cutting. And it was one of those hairdressers where there was a single chair and then there were all seats around it, and you used to sit in and you just wait your turn, and eventually for your turn. And I remember just sat on the chair and I felt like everybody was looking at me. And then there's this mirror in front of me, and I hated mirrors. My relationship with my reflection has changed throughout life. And as a child, I would look at my face with curiosity, and then I would start to push my eyes up just out of curiosity. Oh, what would my face look like if it looked like everybody else's? And then as I got angrier and more, why do I have to look like this? I just prayed and wished that somehow my eyes would stay like this, like through muscle memory. And I got so angry that, and I didn't talk to anybody when I was going through my anger phase. And so I developed all these coping mechanisms. And one of the coping mechanisms was, don't look at my face. And even just walking out in the street, I would look at my feet. I didn't want to see my reflection in a window or anything like that. And then all of a sudden, I'm in this situation of a hairdresser just sat in front of this big ass mirror. And I hated it, absolutely hated it. I'd have to take my hearing aid out. And she's like, oh, is that okay? Is that okay? And I'm like, yeah, that's fine. And she's holding up the little mirror. Oh, have a look. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine. I'd give her my money, didn't wait for the change, and run off home. And I hated it. I'd be dripping with sweat. But thankfully, those times have gone, and now I spend a couple of hours in hairdressers and having my hair washed and shampooed and massaged and
the full works.
And just staring at my face and having a smile, and I've got the foils on, and I'm like, but
you've got fabulous hair.
I know, I love it. How did you overcome that then? What was the moment when you kind of embraced and thought, do you know what, it's for me and for you, talking about yourself, it's about that self-love and feeling comfortable in your own skin?
Good question. It's definitely been a lot of trial and error, and I'm going to give a few stories, and there was never like a light bulb moment or a light switch that just changed. It was definitely years and years of processing and doing a lot of things wrong. And at times it didn't matter how I had no boundaries. I people pleased. I would do anything for a day. I just wanted to be accepted. I just wanted to be a part of friendship groups. And my friends were like, Jono, you're just one of the boys. But I always felt like I had to do something extra to earn that ticket into a relationship. And then
it's like you've got to work that little bit harder.
Yeah.
Because you feel like there's like a little bit of inadequacy there in some respect. Because I know I felt that as well, being part of the LGBTQ plus community when I was growing up, feeling that little bit different. I know it's a different situation, but I kind of understand it to an extent. Yeah. And it is about that, isn't it? It's about going that extra mile to try and get that's it.
Yeah, when I was in my late 20s, late teens, early 20s, I became obsessed with dehydrating myself and diet and making sure my skin, sunbeds, I needed abs 24/7, and I wouldn't eat any food other than chicken and vegetables.
Wow.
Because I thought, if I'm going to date somebody, they're not going to be interested in my face. And I always role played in my head, and I still do. I imagined the person that I'm dating talking to their friends and be like, oh, why are you dating Jono for? And they're like, oh, well, his face ain't all that, but his body's amazing and he will do anything for me. And I was like, okay. And I was like, okay, that's my ticket into relationships. Be extra and try and have a nice body. And where did it change? Back to that question. When I was 21, found myself working in Reflex in Wakefield. And it was...
Reflex, is that a club, bar?
Reflex 80s bar.
80s bar.
Yeah.
I thought I recognised it. I think I've been there before.
Let's make you
I probably saw you in there. We're not too dissimilar age.
I mean, in the early 2000s, Reflex and Wakefield was absolutely amazing for nightlife. And I had all my friends, they all worked in bar jobs, and they were just like, dude, it's the best job ever. You know, everybody just drinks, and the social aspect is just amazing. And I used to find going out to clubs and bars very hard. You know, it's all about how many people you've pulled, how many people you've slept with. And I just found it humiliating and embarrassing, and I hated it. But I also wanted to be a part of it. It was just so conflicting. And somehow I find myself working in Reflex. And there were quite a few things that happened during that time. But one of the big things that happened, a girl started working there. She was studying at Bretton Hall, did dance and drama and everything. She just seemed to twirl and float through life. She loved the Smiths and Morrissey and Radiohead. And I just thought she was the coolest person ever. But why would a girl like that be interested in me? So there was never going to be anything happen. Girls used to ask me out as a dare or as a joke.
That's awful.
But anyway, she came over to me one night and she was like, Jono, do you fancy going for a drink sometime? And I was like, oh yeah, you know, a few of us are going for a drink, definitely come and join us. And she's like, no, just me and you. And I wanted to play it cool, but I was like, oh, I'm free Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And I was like, when do you want to do this? And she was just like so cool. She's like, why don't we meet at New Miller Dam and we'll have a walk around Dam? And I was like, okay, let's do it. Over the next couple of days, I questioned her motive. Why? Is she going to want to get to know one of my friends, ask for their phone numbers? Is she going to ever turn up? What is her motive to ask me out? Have I got it even wrong? Am I overthinking this? Is this just two friends? Anyway, the day of, got in my little boy racer car. The night before, cut my own hair because I couldn't go to hairdressers anymore. Kitchen scissors, give myself this dodgy bowl cut. She turns up, again, just floatily, effortlessly, just really cool. And we walked around New Miller Dam together. And I'm walking slower and slower as we get into the end because it was just the best day ever. It was one of those first times when I came in contact with somebody and had butterflies and talks, and I found myself mirroring her language. She was talking about dreams, fears, and I found myself just becoming more authentically me, not having to act.
And kind of opening up.
Yeah.
And just being yourself.
We gets to end at Dam, and she's like, and I'm like, oh, this is over? And she's just proper cool, probably she goes, do you want to come back to mine? And I'm like, hell yeah. So she invites me back to student digs. Don't worry, it's a PG story.
That's a shame.
She's like, so we go back to a student digs, and we have some food and we have a drink, and we sat on a bedroom floor just talking to each other. And she's so articulate, but all of a sudden she's lost for words and she's struggling to talk and find the right words to use. And I instantly knew what that means. Somebody wants to talk about my face, my appearance, or ask me a question that's a little bit personal, but doesn't want to offend or judge or embarrass me, what have you. And she's looking at me and she's like, Jono, can I talk about your face and why? And I was just like, oh, here we go again. This isn't cool. This isn't sexy. This isn't a date. I've got this wrong. And she goes, Jono, I just frigging love your face. And she leans in and kisses me. And in that moment, in that frigging love your face, in that kiss, I went from feeling unattractive to thinking I was the sexiest guy in the world. I was just somebody who I admired and looked up to, found me attractive, was just huge. And for them to actually want to kiss me, to want to kiss this face, that was huge for me. Game-changing, light bulb moment. I was like, ooh, oh, this we can work with this.
Yeah.
And that was the start. That self-love came from another. And
That's incredible.
and during that period, I met so many other amazing people as well. And a few months later, she ended it and broke my heart. But I had this experience and this moment that was just huge, and I knew there were other people out there.
Yeah.
It changed it. It changed you. And it changed your perception on what love and your love life will be for the rest of your life.
Absolutely. But more importantly, I realized that I was my authentic self that day, and she wanted to kiss that.
And that's who she loved.
Yes, that authentic,
that's
real.
Who you are.
Yeah.
I totally get that. And I think, I think you're a good looking guy. I know you never believe it when I've said it to you, but you are. And I think your perception of yourself sometimes maybe is that you're not, but you are. And a lot of that is it's not just about your face, which is lovely. You have a lovely face. It's about who you are. And women, I know, it's the person who you love. And
Exactly.
you are something special. You really are. You really are.
It's the attraction that emulates from you as an individual. And I think that's when you know the difference between somebody that is genuine and somebody that isn't.
Yeah.
About how somebody is attracted to you for who you are, not because of the way you look or any, like physical attributes. I think there's a shallowness, especially in our society now. But I think from my perspective as well, I think you are a really attractive man, and love the gym. And I know you talk about that quite a bit, which is great, but it's about how you present yourself as well as a person. And I think that's so important.
Did you once talk about you were working in a gym where you as a young, and you again, the mirror thing was a problem for you, and that was another turning point for you, wasn't it?
Yeah. So before I met this person, and before I worked in the gym, in the bar, I spent a lot of time hiding in my room. My friends would be going, back when Malaya and Falaraki were really, really popular, all my friends would go on these pulling holidays, and I never went on them. I managed to go on one towards the end. And again, that was an eye-opener. But I spent a lot of time hiding away, and then I met this person in the bar, and then shortly afterwards I found myself working in the gym, Fitness First in Wakefield, surrounded by mirrors, and I was like, oh my God, how the hell am I going to be able to do this every single day? And then I used to do a 3 till 10 p.m. shift, and at 9 o'clock I used to have to tidy up because there's this weird thing that happens in fitness centers all over the world. People can use the weights, but they can't put them back. I don't know what it is.
That happens everywhere. Yes.
So I'm 21, 22, skinny little sparrow legs, what have you, having to put all these weights away, always in front of these mirrors from the floor to the ceiling. And as I'm putting them away, I love my shoes and my trainers, and I just bought some new shoes, and I was like, oh my God, I love these new trainers. And I'm wearing my little short shorts, and I'd been on some bed, and I was like, oh, I like my little legs. Check out my butt. And I was like, hey, I've got a cute butt. And I'm working up. I'd trained chest that day. So I'm like, I'm wearing an extra small t-shirt, by the way. And I was like, oh, my chest looks big today. And normally I stop here because I don't want to see this. But that night at Fitness First, I'm on a roll, trainers, legs, butt, chest, and I accidentally look at my face. And that day, instead of pushing my eyes up or feeling ashamed, I took a step closer and I looked at my eyes and I saw my blue eyes, and I'd not seen my blue eyes in such a long time. And I was like, oh my God, they're so blue. And I smiled. And as I smiled, I realized I have one dimple when I smile. And I was like, oh my God, that's so cool. And I just, at closing time at Fitness First, just grinning at my face like a Cheshire cat that I'd once hated. And it took that experience from, I just friggin' love your face, from another to give me a little stepping stone. And then I accidentally found a couple of things that I loved about myself. And those things that I had when I was a kid, my mum taught me those things, but I kind of lost them. And then now as an adult, I continue to find more things that I love about my face and my soul and my being. And that whole list continues to grow. But that was a huge moment. There's often times when I'll drive into Wakefield and I'll see the old bar and the old gym, and I was like, that was the making of me. Yeah. It really was.
God,
Amazing.
that's very powerful, really powerful to hear. You talk about, meeting that girl and that didn't last, but you have had strong relationships over the years as well, haven't you? And that also inspires. You said you when you fell for Winona Ryder, Edward Scissorhands relationship, you want other people to be inspired by the fact that you have had a lot of great relationships.
I really, really have. And I do get a lot of parents or a lot of youngsters that come up to me and they ask me about friendships and relationships. Now, believe it or not, I turned 40 last year, and I don't look 40.
Not at
But
all.
I'm fishing. I'm fishing here.
Day over 35, Jono.
But last year, I celebrated my 40th with 12 lads that I'd met in high school and just had the best time. And they've just been the best group of friends, and I've continued to make friends throughout my entire life in different circles, and I'm incredibly lucky. And then when it comes to relationships as well, I've been blessed with so many beautiful, there's been a few long-term relationships that have been absolutely incredibly loving and just amazing. I couldn't have asked for anything more. And then there's also been some really healthy casual relationships. It's been pretty special to say that it's been nice knowing that I am loved, by, I can't put it into words, but if anybody is watching that has a child with a visible difference and they're worried about making friends or people falling in love with them, or finding them attractive, I promise you people will. And
That's lovely. That's really inspirational.
So
No,
please.
you go.
I was going to say that you recently became a TV presenter with Love My Face, Channel 4's Love My Face. Now, how did that come about, and what was that experience like?
Another amazing person from Yorkshire, although from Castleford. So I'm from Featherstone and we don't necessarily see eye to eye, but there was one amazing person from Castleford, this producer, and he was like, Jono, I've got this idea for a TV show and I don't know how or what it's going to look like in the end, but I just know you need to be in it. And I was like, okay, tell me about it. And he had this idea of a place where people come with visible differences and they're looking at having treatments done on their faces. And you're there to find out why and guide them through this journey. And it's not about before and after. It's about the journey of where they go. Some may decide to have treatment, some may not. But what's really important is the emotional work that's done. And I was like, I'm in. The emotional work, yes, I'm in. So we filmed a pilot. Looked very different to the end product. But we filmed here in Leeds, just outside, in Scarcroft. And I met so many incredible people that came to the clinic, from the production team to the researchers to the people who actually came for treatments as well, and just being part of their journey of finding that self-love was absolutely amazing. Because when I first met them, they all came in quite hidden, no eye contact or very little eye contact, wearing dark clothes. And then when they came back, their shoulders were relaxed, they wore colour, their language had changed. It was just amazing, and definitely definitely give it a watch for sure.
Yeah, definitely. It's on streaming. I guess you can watch it.
What's the premise of it then? If for people that haven't seen it, so it's their journey from having some kind of, or wanting some kind of treatment, and that whole journey through to having it at the end.
Yeah, there's lots of different people, all with visible difference. Scars, burns, alopecia, and they're all thinking about having treatment done. And I'm like, why? Is it because society, society, as we all know, society can be quite cruel and unkind. Is it because of society, or are you wanting to do this for yourself? And I will take them. These treatments are available. We have some incredible health professionals there. And I start giving them emotional homework and tasks to do that they go away and do. And it's talking kinder to yourself. It's working with your inner child. It's walking out in the street, and instead of looking at your feet, make eye contact with somebody and smile at somebody. So there's different tasks for people to do, and the viewer will be able to do them too. There's a lot of stuff like that in my book as well.
Yeah.
But it's just this beautiful journey of them loving themselves. And some of them do have treatment, and treatment is widely available to all of us right now. There's some amazing treatment out there. But one thing, if anybody's consider having treatment done, whether it's on their teeth, their hair, they're very popular ones at the moment, don't think it's the answer for it to heal what's on the inside.
Yeah, it's not a fix.
It's not. And they've got to do a lot of work still emotionally. So, yeah.
You talked about your book there, and that was really when you wrote your book, and you began then to travel the world, didn't you, to meet many young people with the same condition as you and other conditions, and become an inspirational speaker. I mean, why did you decide to do that? And who have you met along the way that you feel, I am so glad that I actually reached out to all these people?
Oh, how to even process that. So for the past 15 years, I was very lucky to do some work on the TV in regards to documentaries that were viewed worldwide. And then we had all these parents reach out to me. Jono, my son has got Treacher Collins, my daughter's got APAS, all these different conditions. And I just started talking to them. And they're like, Jono, we would love to meet you and hang out. And I was like, okay, let's do it. So I started traveling around the UK. I worked in the care sector at the time. So I'd work overtime and just save up and travel. And then people from all over the world started reaching out. And I was like, okay, let's make it happen. So I'd do my overtime and started traveling, meeting all these families and making all these connections. And my circle just got bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's just absolutely special. And I feel like I've seen the world in such a beautiful way through all these families. Like I even celebrated my 30th birthday with one of these families in Australia, having shrimp wrapped in bacon, just absolutely amazing. And then later that day, we kicked an Aussie rules football to each other. So I've travelled the world. And I've seen some amazing things, but I've travelled the world through families, through family traditions and favourite things. It's been incredible. And then through that journey, schools and colleges and universities and workplaces asked me to talk in front of various people. So I started doing that. And then now I started addressing big audiences across the world. I've just come back from Brazil and done some speaking in Brazil. And Mexico in Mexico, I don't speak Spanish, but 2,000 people came to listen to me speak in Mexico. It was absolutely amazing. It was madness as well, because I did my thing, absolutely incredible. And then my team that were with me were like, Jono, vamos, we need to go. And I was like, okay. We were meeting some government people. And I was like, okay, we need to go to the next appointment. And so we went out of the theatre. And we get there, and there's a big queue of people lined up from inside the lobby outside. And I was like, oh, is there another event on? And they're like, no, you need to sit in this chair because all these people want to say hello and shake your hand. And I was like, wow. It was just, we sat there for like 2 hours. And then once we'd done that, I got taken away and we ended up going into this government place where absolutely stunning building, and had tea with the mayor and everything, and the mayor's wife. And then we ended up doing tequila shots with the mayor's wife and everything. just
What an experience.
and I've got so many stories like that. And it goes back to when you were talking about my thoughts around my birth parents and how to process that. I'd been given this life, and there was a period in my life where I sat on my own, very angry. Why me? Why did I have to look like this? Whereas now I've been able to do that work, and I'm like, oh my God, I've got this life, and I fill it with all these adventures, and I try and live my best life. That's my main focus. And I still have my trauma that I have to work through, and my anxiety. But if I try and live my best life, and if I'm able to help others along the way, that's amazing. Because in the past, I've definitely put a lot of pressure on myself, helping others first and pouring from an empty cup. But no, I'm trying to live my best life. And
That's brilliant.
yeah.
And I've seen you present and the talks that you do, and it's so inspirational.
Well, you got a standing ovation at the one we saw, which was last December, when he won the Yorkshire Legend Award.
Yeah, that's the Yorkshire Legend. That's a proper cool.
You are the Yorkshire
Officially a Yorkshire
yeah.
Legend.
which is amazing.
Hey.
It's an accolade.
Yeah.
That is really, really amazing.
You talked, obviously, this all started with Jean, your mum, that gave you so many opportunities and installed such a positive self-belief in you. What is her view of everything that you're doing now? And you know, obviously, how is she? Is she doing okay?
Yeah, she just celebrated a birthday, 82 last month.
Wow.
Went to a posh Italian place, and she put away all the food. She says she's only 5 foot
She can
nothing,
eat.
4 foot something. She can
Good
eat.
for her.
She can eat. And when we catch up, she's like, oh, where have you been? And I'm like, oh, I've done this, this, and this. And she's like, sometimes she's lost for words, you know, but she's incredibly proud. And on my mum's on social media. Out of everybody in my life, I've got more mutual friends with my mum than anybody else, because all these people that I meet all over the world want to interact with my mum. Give your mum a hug, and she messages them all, and she's just this incredible lady that I am just incredibly blessed and lucky to have in my life, and the whole family. The Lancasters, you know, I'm very, very lucky. Yeah.
Do you have a big extended family? Yeah, a lot of you.
Yeah, they were all a lot older than myself. So when I was growing up, I became an uncle at a really young age, and so all my nephews and nieces, they became my friends. Especially when I struggled to go out and hang out with my friends. I hung out with my nephews and nieces a lot, and we would play football, we would play on the computer, and they still are a big part of my life. But when I was a young teenager, they were so important to me, and looking back, they really saved me. They gave me a purpose. They gave me, and now they're getting married and having their own children. Which is just crazy, and just absolutely.
So you will
amazing.
be too. You will be too.
Yeah, definitely.
So is that something you look forward to? Is that something you would like?
Marriage. You know, growing up, I pinned so much on one day me getting married, having a family of my own, and that would make me happy. That's the answer to everything. Whereas now, as I've gotten older, those things may not happen, and that's okay. And I don't pin my happiness on those things. One day I am going to find somebody that's my best friend. I mean, I've already got a ton of best friends. I don't know. There may be like the end game person for sure. Who knows? But my happiness does not depend on it. Yeah. And I think that's one thing.
And that's a really good good way to see it.
You're also the same,
Yeah.
anyway. But it's you both. To me, you're both babies. You have a lot of time yet to find that big love. You really have, and have children. And if that's what you would like to have, I'm sure it will happen.
Yeah, I agree.
So we just talked about you being a Yorkshire legend. You're also a Leeds United fan.
I know, loving the shirt.
No, I'm not a Leeds United fan.
You're not.
I'm not, no. I'm going to get so much hate and confusion right now. So, growing up as a kid, I had no boundaries. I was a people pleaser. So all my friends and a good chunk of my family supported Leeds United.
Mm-hmm.
And then another part of my family, my brother especially, and my friends supported Manchester United. So they're always like, you need to support this team, you need to support this team. And I was like, oh my God, who do I support? So I eventually went to Manchester United because unfortunately they won more at the time. And then I would buy Manchester United shirts. And then when I was walking down the street and my friends were there who supported Leeds United, I would quickly put my coat on because they couldn't see me wearing a Man. And I was so conflicted, but I didn't have an identity or a personality as a kid. I just went with whatever group of people I was with. I was definitely very much a sheep that just did. And now I thought I would get it because it's going to make that other half of my family and my friends very happy because they've never seen me in a Leeds shirt. But I saw this. It's a beautiful shirt, and I love all sport and I love football. I do have my preferences, but I wouldn't say I was a Leeds or a Manchester
You're a diplomat
then. Sat on the fence.
Sat on the fence. Properly sat on the fence.
But it is that. It's nice colours.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
We ask all our guests as well to bring in something that means something to themselves, but also something that is so Yorkshire as well, being a Yorkshire legend that you are.
So what have you chosen as a Yorkshire legend that means Yorkshire to you?
Right. So
what's in the box?
What's in the box? Okay.
I'm excited to see.
So the reason why I chose the first one is because it's something that was a big part of my childhood and my teenage years.
Mm-hmm.
And it is my original Featherstone Roosevelt rugby jersey.
Fantastic. Yeah. Love it.
I grew up in Featherstone.
Yeah.
And one of the things I absolutely love about coming from Featherstone was everybody knew us as a family.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously I met all my friends there and the club as well. Every time I had a surgery, they would always send me a gift. I was a match day mascot. The junior blue and white club. I have a lot of happy memories with the club, with the team. Every Christmas I would go and meet Santa, and he was always one of the players dressed up as Santa. It was just... And even as an adult, as now, they've supported me with the charity, and I'm still involved with the club. So, yeah, one of my old rugby shirts. And,
that's fantastic. Love that.
Yeah, yeah.
And we also asked something that's very special to you. I know that obviously is as well, but something that's very special to you, Jono.
Yes. So this one, it's got the blue and white stripes as well. So this... I don't have any information from those first 2 weeks of my life.
Mm-hmm.
But my mum says these were some of the clothes that were passed on, the hospital staff had saved. And yeah, it's something that I've always kept. And yeah, that came with me when my mum first met me. And yeah.
So that's what you were wearing, probably.
At some point, somehow, somewhere, these came into my possession as a baby, as a newborn, and I don't know where they came from or who
Somebody
gifted
bought
them.
you those that you don't know who they.
No. But it's a reminder that I was always loved.
Yeah.
And I know I've had difficulties in the past of, I was left in hospital, but I've always been loved. And this is something that's really special. And I'm so glad. And it's so delicate. But I'm so glad and happy that my mum were able to save these things. And it's like, probably it's blue and white as well, the Featherstone colours.
Perfect.
It was like it was meant to be.
Meant to be, definitely.
Leeds United.
Yeah.
Can't get away from that now.
Yeah, but that's
Oh, Jono, that's very, very moving and very emotional to see those baby clothes.
yeah.
Definitely.
And, that's where it all started for you, wearing those little clothes, and it's a link back to whatever your life was before you were born, as well as everything that happened since.
Yeah, I know there are amazing people that work in the fostering and adoption community, and it's really amazing that they do life story boxes or life story books, and people will create these scrapbooks or these boxes, and it documents all aspects of life through photos, letters of being a part of their lives. And that wasn't really a thing when I was around, when I was younger. But for me to have something, I mean, our origin story, and we all want to know of what time we were born and how much did we weigh and what was we like when we was a baby, or what happened on the day you're born. And I don't really have that information, but so having this is huge for my identity and my origin, So yeah, it's pretty special.
It's incredible.
I can picture that little baby wearing those clothes.
Definitely. It just brings it all together, and the incredible journey that you've then been on, and everything that you've achieved, Jono, is truly inspirational.
When we said what people will be thinking at the end of this podcast and how amazing and inspirational you are, and how you tell your story is just inspiring. And I know that everyone hopefully watching this and listening to this podcast will feel exactly the same as we do. And every time we've heard you speak, Jono, thank you so much for being our guest on Yorkshire Talks. It's been very special. Thank you.
It really has. It really has. And good luck with everything that you've got going on. And I'm sure we'll see you around in Leeds and Yorkshire.
Con as well. Yeah. There's so much going on.
Thank you for having me on. And thank you, we were talking about earlier, thank you for the 3 therapy session. It's so nice to sit down and talk about feelings and emotions and, it's reflection as well. And I appreciate you thinking that, people may take inspiration from this. Just to the viewers, I'm still winging life and I've still no idea what I'm doing in life, but I'm going with it and working with it and doing all right. So
and
that's what we all
only halfway through that life. You've a long way to go. You've a long way to go.
And that's what we all do. We all wing it, don't we?
Yeah.
We get there in the end.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jono.
That's just about it from this episode, isn't
It is. So thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back with the next episode of Yorkshire Talks. But don't forget to like and subscribe where you get all your podcasts and your streaming, and our YouTube channel too.
We'll see you next time.